Hello, loyal YouTube listeners. It's Justin Bellman, one of the hosts of Boycast. Before you embark on this beautiful podcasting adventure and one of my personal favorite episodes so far, I just wanted to let you all know that you can now find us on Spotify. Just type Boycast into the search bar, or you can just go to the link in the description of this video and listen to us while you're driving, or doing your homework, or making a canoe, or petting a cat, or whatever else you do when you listen to podcasts. We're still working on getting it to Apple Podcasts as well, but I just wanted to let you beautiful YouTube people know real quick about another way that you can listen that might be a little more convenient for you. But whether it's on Spotify or YouTube or through the highlights on either YouTube or Instagram, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Bye! Jason, we're doing a podcast.
Yeah, sure seems like it, huh?
What does that mean?
Oh, no, I just wanted to sound sort of like cool and aloof this time around. I've sort of...
Well, it sounds like it kind of just sounds like you didn't really care about the podcast, if I'm being honest.
Well, I think that's sort of like the vibe of someone who's like really cool and aloof, is it's just sort of like whatever, man.
I mean, so what you're saying is there's something cool about like not caring?
Yeah, exactly. I've learned that recently, is that like if you really don't care about anything, you get mailed a leather jacket. So I mean, I'm just sort of waiting on mine.
So I shouldn't. So like you don't care about like things you work on, like say like with your friends, or you don't even care about your friends. Then is what you're saying?
No, I mean, I feel like I have to care about a couple things, and I think it's got to be getting babes, cracking open some brews, and I feel like everyone's got to have like one little thing they really care about, but they keep it kind of secret to mine. It's like obviously babes, obviously beers, and then for me, it's like absolute steadfast belief that there is a monster in Lake Champlain.
Jason, this might be the end of the podcast.
Why? Because you know the secrets about the lake monster and you can't talk about it here?
Why do you think we've been doing this fucking podcast, Jason? I need those lake secrets.
Introducing our new lore-based spin-off podcast, Lake Secrets.
Lake Secrets. Lake Secrets with Ira Glass.
It's a new lore-based podcast from Ira Glass, who's gonna. Also, my friend who actually listens to Ira Glass, he listened to the podcast and he told me that my impression sounds nothing like Ira Glass. He is much more nasally than I was giving him credit for.
Yeah, I think. Well, your impression just sounds like Keith from College Humor's impression of Ira Glass.
I feel like it's just the general NPR voice.
Maybe. Hey, Jason.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you about my terrible, horrible, no good, very bad week.
It's time for story time with Justin. He's going to tell us about some stuff that happened to him during the week in the Windy City. Ba-doop-boop, Windy City. Ba-doop-boop.
Well, that was charming. It's
Thank
not
you.
very aloof of you, though.
No, I'm sort of backpedaling from that. I put on the leather jacket and it's too tight.
It's too hot for leather. It sticks to my arms.
Sticks to arm, little bit melt skin. No good.
Ooh. What are you, in a tanning booth?
No, Michigan's just a fucking crock pot this time of year.
Oh, dude, I called my apartment a crock pot earlier this week. Do you want to know why?
Because it was hot and you were cooking like onions?
Yeah, do you want to know why it was so hot in my fucking apartment?
Why?
Okay, so here's the story. It's story time with Justin as he tells a story about what happened to him during the week in the Windy City. So it was Sunday night and I got takeout. So I went downstairs to pick it up because I got it delivered. And when I came back up to my apartment, I noticed, I mean, you know this, people who are listening probably don't know the layout of my apartment. If you do, let me know so I can call the police and have you reported for stalking.
Try to imagine like a really, really rich housewife living outside of Nashville who's got a massive walk-in closet. Now you put a small kitchen on the end of that, you got Justin's place.
A small kitchen on the end of the walk-in closet?
Yeah, but like a really nice walk-in closet. Like, come on, you have a decent space.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair. But anyway, so like, you know how when you walk into my place and if you make when you make a right into the kitchen, like the carpet turns into tile.
Uh-huh.
So right before the tile happens, there was a wet spot in the carpet. And I thought that I thought that I had spilled something or something. So I was just kind of like, okay, weird, but I'm going to clean that up. So I grabbed some paper towel and I started blotting that. And I was like, oh, it's not getting drier. What's happening? It's getting wetter. And I noticed that it was pooling underneath the carpet. There was the wetness was not coming from above the carpet. There was something wet underneath the carpet. And I was like, okay. So I put in a maintenance request, and the next day I get a call from maintenance, and they're like, hey, we got your report and we want to come check it out, but we need some more information on this stain. So I told them it's like about like a foot by a foot wide. It's not too big. It's not taking up too much space. It's just weird because like it was the next morning. So you'd think after some time had passed, it would either dry or get bigger or something, and it didn't. It was the exact same. So I was like, this is super weird. So
it's still like equally as wet.
Yeah. So
okay, so then you went downstairs to your downstairs neighbor, and you're like, "Oh, my downstairs neighbor, Arthur Aquaman, I this weird thing happened." And he's sort of like sweating, like, "Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, bud, my man,
my man." And you just hear that from you're like, man, that guy never wants to open his door.
Yeah, I said Arthur Aquaman because I was like 90% sure his last name was Curry, but I wasn't 100%.
You should have been 100% sure and impressed me with your knowledge, because it is indeed Arthur Curry.
Dang it! I'll never win Who Wants to Be a Millionaire this way.
This is not even a little bit the interesting part of the story yet. So you don't even feel bad for me yet. Wait till that happens. So
I already feel bad. I hate when you got water on your floor.
So maintenance comes later that day, and he moves my couch, and he tracks water stains from underneath my couch to my AC unit, which is like, you know, from the apartment building. It's like inserted into my wall. So yeah, the AC unit was leaking.
Ooh.
I don't remember like what he said. I think it was because like the exhaust fan was closed, and usually they do that in the winter so that like cold air just doesn't like come through. But like because I rented my apartment in September of last year is when I started leasing this place. I guess like it was set to close because the winter was coming, but the winter came and went, and I didn't know that I was supposed to change it to open. So the inside of it basically got covered in frost, and then when I turned it off at some point, it started leaking.
Cool.
So I had multiple wet spots like across my apartment. So he brought a dehumidifier, and the dehumidifier didn't work. So he was like, okay, I think that what this one does, I think it's on like a power saving mode. So I think it should like shut off and turn back on. So I'm going to come back in an hour. And if it hasn't turned back on, then we will swap it out for a new one. And I was like, okay, cool. So he comes back 3 hours later. And
that's not the time he told you.
But the thing about that is that he said, while this dehumidifier is running, you cannot turn on your air conditioning, and you have to keep your windows closed.
Don't even try to fan yourself, you little fucking soy boy. Pretty
much, but he was like, because it'll reintroduce moisture into the air. So it was about 85 degrees on Sunday.
Oof.
So my apartment effectively turned into what I was calling the miserable crock pot. You know, so he comes back 3 hours later. Dehumidifier had never turned back on, so he brought a second one, and that one initially didn't work. I figured out why it wasn't working. The thing is that it was already boiling in my apartment. I couldn't leave for more than 4 hours at a time, because every 4 hours I needed to change out the pan in the dehumidifier. And so for some capacity of time, I had to stay in this fucking boiling apartment. So I take like an ice cold shower. I get out, and I'm like already sweating again. And then get this, I go to plug in a blow dryer and I I didn't electrocute myself, I'm still alive, but I shocked myself.
Does that have anything to do with like the moisture in the air or
Nope.
there? Oh, I am you know what? If there's ever a science question again, I'm either going to close my mouth or I'm going to jump out my window and then just kind of run back in after you're done talking.
But no, yeah, no. I think it was literally because I had just gotten out of the shower. I must have had like some water on my thumb or something, and I must have been like too close to the prong of the thing. I don't know. I have no idea, but I shocked myself, felt like my whole forearm stiffen up for a second. It was painful. I didn't enjoy it. So then like I came back out into the living room and I realized that my entire apartment smelled horrible.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, what the fuck is that smell? And Jason, this may surprise you, but it turns out when you boil a can of garbage, it can smell like hot garbage in your apartment.
Well, yeah, I mean, I got the garbage aromatics whenever I'm cooking any kind of dish, you know?
So yeah, so my entire apartment smelled like I had some garbage in my garbage can, and that was apparently enough to when my apartment felt like my apartment was genuinely probably about 110 plus degrees.
Jesus.
Yeah, so when it's that hot and you're profusely sweating and your entire apartment is in disarray, because my couch was still moved because that's where the dehumidifier was. So my living room, which is already probably about 100 square feet, maybe less, is now cut in half because I can't use half of it because it's wet with a dehumidifier, and it now reeks of garbage. And I would like this smell, Jason. Like if I could describe this smell to you, it would be a mix of like old corn and an old banana.
Wait, okay, hold on. Now, I want you to sort of think in your head. Don't say it out loud right now. Think in your head. Try to quantify the badness smell of this, and then compare it to whatever the fuck was going on with our dishwasher end of first semester of my last year of college.
Oh,
when we were living on the 17th floor. Do you remember?
Of course,
How terrible was that December?
It was probably. I remember. All I remember is the maintenance guy showed up, and me, you, and Snow were sitting in the hallway, and he was like, "What are you guys doing out here?" And we were like, "We don't want to go in there."
Like I constantly we would go to like different people's rooms in the building just to escape the stench. I don't pride myself is the wrong word. I have not puked in well over a decade, and I've only come truly close a couple of times. And the last day I was like cleaning out the dishwasher before we left was one of those days, and I think another one is actually right now because thinking about it, I'm getting the flashbacks.
Oh my god,
my eyes are growing hazy. Yeah. My hands are in the air. I'm like in a southern church. Oh god, it's all coming back.
Dude, honestly, like it wasn't. I will say it wasn't that bad, but it was probably about 75% that bad.
That would be enough for me to just fucking burn some sage and then just burn everything else in the apartment also. But starting with the sage to sort of combat the smell.
Well, here's the thing, Jason. I do have candles in my apartment, but I didn't want to burn anything because it was already approximately 1 million degrees.
That's very true. That's a fair point.
But also, I did have air freshener, and I sprayed a bunch of air freshener, and like in a little while, I was like, why didn't it smell like anything? And not thinking that I have a fucking dehumidifier whose whole entire job is to take moisture in the air and get rid of it, which is the exact opposite of what an air freshener does. So I literally could not get rid of this stench while this dehumidifier was on. At about like 7 or 8 o'clock, it was about like when all this stuff was going on, and I was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. So I decided to go to Starbucks, and like I left, and I was like, I just got to be somewhere air conditioned for a little bit, and like, you know, I took out my trash and all that stuff just so it wasn't in there anymore. And my lovely girlfriend Mary was just like, do you want to like come over for a little bit so you're not
That was my like immediate thought. I'm like, what are you doing still being there?
Yeah, but I also have to come back every 4 hours to change out the dehumidifier. So like at first I was like, I'm just going to stick it out the whole day. And then I was like, I literally can't stick this out. This is miserable. So I went to Mary's for like maybe 2.5 hours. And then I had to come back because I had to swap the pan. I came back here at probably like, I don't know. I probably got back at like 11. I swapped it out and somehow it smelled worse. Like there was no garbage. I think it was just the scent the scent had gotten stale. At that point I was like, okay, how about this? Fuck it. And I opened both of my windows because it had rained that day. So it was like 65 degrees that night. And I was like, I'm going to fucking open both of my windows. And if it takes a little longer for this to dry, I don't give a shit. So I did that and it didn't really help. It was still miserable. It was probably still like, I don't know, fucking 100 degrees in my apartment or whatever. So I tried sleeping. I was like stuck to my fucking sheets. I set an alarm for 3 a.m. and I set an alarm for 7 a.m. because I was like, I'm going to wake up every fucking 4 hours to make this go by as quickly as I can. There will be no time wasted in drying this goddamn carpet. So I did. I woke up at 3, swapped it out. I woke up at 7, swapped it out. I just decided I was like, well, I don't even care. I was like, this is when I'm awake. I'm not going to go back to sleep now. That's pointless. So what I did is I went to Starbucks and I was like, I'm just going to spend the whole morning in Starbucks. I like brought my phone and I brought a charger and I brought books and I brought notebooks and I was like, I'm gonna spend the whole dang morning in Starbucks. Jason, I was in Starbucks for about 10 minutes. I had ordered a bottle of water, a hot chocolate and like a small hot chocolate and a banana just for like some breakfast sustenance. And so I was there for about 10 minutes because about 10 minutes in, a huge like horsefly landed on my arm twitched, and I spilled hot chocolate all up in my lap. And if that makes you laugh, here's do you want it gets better, Jason. It gets better. Do you want to know why?
Why?
It was on my
fucking, like, former President Barack Obama was there and he laughed at you.
It was on my only pair of shorts.
What do you mean your only pair? You only have one?
I have like raggedy gym shorts, but the ones that I wear in public, I only have one pair of. Because until now, I've only ever needed one pair.
Oh my god, Justin, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I lied. Last summer I did have 2 pairs, but I think I spilled something on those too. It's apparently a trend. But anyway,
so wait, now you're down to no pair.
Well, no. It came out in the wash, so that's good.
Are you saying like after that something really good happened to you, so all this came out in the wash?
That's very funny. Good play on words. I'm going to continue my sad story.
Thank you. I'm just going to go ahead and tick off 1 point from me though, really quick. Let me just
yeah, please do.
There we go. That's 1 point.
You earned it. So
thank you. I carve it into my monitors.
Oh, that's yeah. Well, all right. Okay. So I had to go back to my miserable crockpot of an apartment to change into pants.
Yep.
So then I left and I went to a second Starbucks. I am still hungry, and I also don't want to be in my apartment, and that is air conditioned and safe. So what I did...
Everything you said is logical, because now the fucking horsefly's got it out for you, and Obama's probably still there, and he's still probably laughing about you. Good old Barry's probably just like, you see that loser over there? Talking about an idiot.
Look, Michelle. Michelle, look. The just-in-time pro. He spilled something on his lap. He knows me. He knows me by my old YouTube panel.
No. We knew this back in college. Barack was a big fan.
Just-in-time pro. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and he'll see us next time. Michelle.
Are you basing who you're going to vote for in the primary on who makes the best reference to your bits during one of the debates?
Absolutely. That's my only criteria for a candidate.
Yeah, because you remember though, Julian Castro, when he was talking about some of the failings of him and Joe Biden's time during the Obama administration, he said, Mr. Vice President, I think between the two of us, only one of us has taken off our nostalgia glasses about what happened during that administration.
Oh no!
And then he like looked at the camera for like 5 minutes, and the moderator kept like trying to move on to someone else, and he's like, "Not yet."
And the moderator's like, "All right, let's get mad."
So
okay, we have to stop. We have to stop this bit. Number one, because it'll never end, and number two, because we're the only people that get it.
That's not entirely true, Justin. It will end. I just have 19 more candidates to go make jokes about your channel through. So let me just move on.
No. Stop.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me just blaze through the rest of the story, so that we can go into Goof Town for the last like I don't know fucking 15 minutes after I tell this story. So I go back home, I change into pants, I go to another Starbucks, and I get a bottle of water and a bagel with nothing on it. And I'm like, nothing here can ruin my clothes permanently. Nothing. And this is the safest food option, and I was correct. I was like, I told my dad, I was like, I don't know what trickster god I wronged in a past life to have this past 48 hours, but it's been ridiculous. So I text my dad and I was like, hey dad, can I like call you and like tell you about this like shitstorm of a day that I've been having? And he was like, sure buds, give me like 30 minutes. So I waited like 30 minutes in the Starbucks, and then like a bunch of people sat down around me and they were all on their laptops, and I didn't want to be that one motherfucker talking on their phone. So I bounced from Starbucks, I checked my transit app, and I started walking to the bus stop. Obviously, as soon as I got to the bus stop, I was probably like, I don't know, far enough away from the bus stop where I could watch the bus drive on by. Just missed my bus. Excellent. Next bus wasn't going to be coming for another 15 minutes. Because my point, I was going to go to a park, because I was like, I don't want to be in my apartment. It was like 70 degrees and beautiful outside. This is on this past Tuesday. It was like beautiful outside, and I was like, I need to go somewhere quiet that is not my apartment. So I was like, I'm gonna go to a park. So I missed my bus to the park. And then I was like, I checked the time, and it was supposed to be another 15 minutes till the next bus came. And also, it takes about 15 minutes to walk to that park. So I was like, all right, whatever. This is kind of a good trade-off. I'll just fucking walk. So I'm almost at the park, and I'm on the sidewalk, and I almost got hit by a fucking car on the sidewalk.
Okay, what was this fool doing?
So I'm standing on like the corner of the sidewalk, like right before a crosswalk, and I'm waiting for this woman to drive by so that I can, cross the street.
Cross the walk.
Yeah, so it's just on this little side street. And after she crosses the crosswalk, I'm about to go, but then she whips her car around, does almost a full U-turn, but doesn't quite make it. And Jason, I kid you not, I could have just knocked on her bumper.
Ooh.
Like she was like right the fuck up to me. And honestly, at this point, after all the shit I had been through, I didn't even flinch. I was like, okay, yeah, that's about par for the course.
You were like Dr. Joker, just like, come on. Hit me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got it.
In the exact cadence that he had initially said it.
Do you want?
Come on, hit me. I want you to do it.
Hey,
I want you to do it. Come on, hit me. Hit me,
Michelle. Hit me. I want you to. I want you to do it. I want you to hit me. But yeah. So then,
dog. Chasing cars. One no do one. If I caught it.
Shut up.
Stop trying to step on my great Obama impression. It's everyone's favorite impression.
So I literally I call my dad, and the first thing I say, I was like, hey dad, almost got hit by a car and I missed my bus, but that's about par for the course for the last 24 hours. Which, I'm sure he appreciated me saying that to him right out of the gate, but he was like, whoa. But then I explained everything to him, and then, by the time I got back to my apartment, I just kind of said fuck it, and I turned my air conditioner on, and then obviously it took like all day to cool down again, but my carpet was like 99% dry, and I was like, good enough. And then they took like fucking 6 days to come pick up the goddamn dehumidifier. So it was just not a good week. And especially because the full week I had my whole apartment still rearranged because I was waiting for them to come get the shit. So
Hey, dude, that is a great opportunity for another round of Project Change the Game, my man.
Dude,
Look on the posse.
I would have loved to do that. I would have loved to like change up the layout of my apartment, but my apartment is like not very, like, I don't know. There's not a lot I can do with it.
Yeah, it was kind of like the situation with our individual rooms that last year, where we effectively had half of a Nashville suburbanites walk-in closet. So we was like, I don't know, we could adjust the angle of the bed 2 degrees, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, I'm sorry to hear about your horrible, terrible, no good, very bad. Did you say a couple days weekend? What was the name of the thing? I sang a song. Let me check Spotify. I think I put the song up on Spotify. God, I played a really fucking long guitar solo at the beginning of that. Hold on, let me just skip.
This is a very funny bit you're doing.
I don't do bits. We've talked about this. No, I don't do them. And if I did, they'd be great and funny, but I don't.
That's one of the highlights from Boycast episode 2. It's commit to the bit but don't admit.
That's true. And if you commit to the bit, you must acquit.
Acquit?
Acquit. O.J. Simpson. Everyone loves these topical O.J. Simpson jokes.
That was a long bit that he committed to.
and let's be very clear. O.J. Simpson committed that bit.
There is no controversy. They commit to the bit if the glove doesn't
none
fit.
Whatsoever.
Did you hear what I just said? I made a great joke.
No,
I said.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
I said commit to the bit if the glove doesn't fit.
Oh, man, those people just kind of went unavenged, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a horrible time.
Well, actually, I guess in a sense they were avenged because they don't make the Ford Bronco anymore.
Yeah,
so that's pretty good.
And I guess, like, you know, they were avenged in the sense that, like, the Bills really haven't been the same ever since.
Yeah, that's very true. In a way, justice was served.
Jesus Christ.
Justin, I want to publicly reprimand you for something that you have brought into my life that I really don't appreciate.
What have I done? I'm sorry.
So as I believe I mentioned to you beforehand, before we started recording, I was up at a little cottage in rural western Michigan, and a bunch of my friends went up a couple days before me, and they all listened to the podcast on the way up. I was called soy boy so much this past weekend, and it is because of you that this has occurred.
I lied. I'm not sorry at all. That's hilarious.
My friend Nick, who unfortunately I only see like 3 times a year, pretty much opened up with like, "Oh yeah, what's up, soy boy? Glad you can make it."
Oh my god.
So thank you very much.
Well, did it work? Have you consumed less dairy?
Yeah, but that's because of my tummy. My tummy's been awful ever since I got the food poisonings.
Yeah.
I did briefly have another moment this past trip where I thought I had food poisoning again, but it wasn't that. It was because my friend Dunya and I split some kind of, like, not actual spicy hot wings, like white people spicy hot wings. Mm-hmm. And my stomach was just like, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are eating these medium seasoned wings? You fucking, I don't even know what to call you. You freaking soy boy.
I was literally gonna say you had the word in it was in the chamber. You just had to fire, soy boy.
Oh, and it's ironic you say in the chamber and fire because the place we were staying was at a little town called Gun Lake, which had plenty of lake, but from my personal opinion, not enough guns. Not enough guns on that lake.
You don't say.
Can you believe it?
Huh. In this economy.
What a poorly named. Okay, hold on. In this economy, I'm sorry. This has reminded me of my fucking favorite thing. I've been saying it all the time because my friend Sydney told me about this. She works as a hostess at a restaurant. A lesbian couple was eating dinner together, and Sydney she insists that this was not a joke, the way this woman said it. The person said, I mean, can you imagine being straight in this economy?
I'm assuming that had to have been like an ironic thing.
I trust Sydney on this one. Like, the wild things happen at this particular crimson colored bird based establishment.
Dude,
this crimson bird chain restaurant.
Wild things, they make my heart sing.
Freaking my dear friend Boyd told me a story about how someone who he's apparently these people have been to this Red Robin but in Southeast Michigan before. I guess I said the name of the restaurant. Cat's out of the bag. Shit.
Man, no one would have been able to guess what the Crimson Bird restaurant was.
I know, but we would have had plausible deniability, and now I'm definitely going back to jail. But he tells me these people have been there before, so they are not from another country. And the reason I preface that is because the woman at the table asked for a Coke, and my friend Boyd brought the Coke, and she said, I'm sorry, what's in this? And he's like, it's Coke. And she's like, yeah, but this other stuff, what's all this stuff?
Oh, you've told me this story.
Yeah, this woman did not know what ice was doing in a drink.
Yeah.
She was confounded by the iced cubes.
The iced
she was
cubes.
Do I get to have? Can I get more when because it's taking up a lot of space. This was kind of really messing with her head. This whole frozen water in drink thing, that it was not vibing with her right.
I don't know if I should feel bad for her because she has never experienced the glory of ice, or if I should feel bad for her because she seems so genuinely inconvenienced by the presence of ice in her beverage.
Yeah, it's wild. She figured it out. She's an intelligent woman. She was like, oh, so it's supposed to keep my drink cold. And I'm thinking about this Boyd, you're in a fucking Key and Peele skit right now.
That's kind of what it sounds like.
I'm waiting for the punchline to come in. The camera pans out of the Red Robin and they're on Mars or something.
Jason, that sounds pretty crazy, but I've seen stranger things. Oh, dude,
you know what?
Actually, just speaking of stranger, well, not speaking of Stranger Things, but speaking of TV shows, I wanted to ask you a question.
I mean, it's more that you don't have to just one. You can just rip off that fucking Band-Aid, baby.
Ah, sick. So this was a question that you had asked me the last time that you were in town, and I didn't have an answer, but I do now. So let me tell you what that question was. You had asked me, what is one TV show that I watch that would surprise people?
Yeah.
Do you have one?
I don't. I'm trying to think about. I don't really, honest to God, I don't watch a lot of TV anymore.
Because I think you had an answer when you were in town, but I just don't remember what it was.
Maybe MasterChef. I've been very enjoying MasterChef.
Yeah. I think, maybe not so much anymore, but I feel when I first started watching Queer Eye, I feel a lot of people were very surprised.
Same here.
Just because, straight cis white man watching a fun gay show. I wanted to ask you a fun little follow-up question about Queer Eye.
Yeah.
Who do you think would be a very fun person to Queer Eye?
Oh, a person in the world who could really use the Fab Five fabulous skills?
Yeah.
Are you talking about a person in our lives, or are you talking about just in the world?
It can just be in the world. It can be a celebrity or something. It can also be a fictional character. It doesn't matter. The world's our oyster. It's our podcast.
I would say I would love to see what happens after Ted Cruz got queer-eyed.
Dude, Bernie Sanders gets queer-eyed.
Oh my god! Tan's like the thing. I think I want to work on with your accent.
Can you imagine Bernie or a Tan coming out and putting Bernie in some like cute old man clothes?
I was just thinking Tan was gonna put him in like bigger suits,
but he still just looks furious. But he's wearing like a nice plaid shirt and like some nice like. He's wearing like a nice like blue blazer.
Oh, that would be really cute. I just love the idea of like Jonathan Van Ness going up to Ted Cruz and be like, "You're such a hateful little piece of shit, but I just know like deep down underneath all that horrible slimy exterior and all that JFK assassination stuff, there's just like a sweet little baby angel with like a beautiful baby brain and a beautiful baby heart, and I just like am so here for it."
Holy shit, dude. Why have you never given your fucking JVN impression? That's really good.
Dude, weirdly, it's my best impression. And I don't know where it came from.
Is that your first time doing it?
I've done it for my other friends, and they're all like, what the fuck? I mean, like, you've been doing impressions for years, but, like, that one's, like, tolerable.
Oh, my God, dude. That was really good. Fucking Jonathan Van Ness queer-eyeing Ted Cruz. Oh my god.
I love the idea of like, sweetie, I want you, don't even look at it. I just want you to try on this shirt right now. And then he comes out of the changing booth and he's wearing an I'm with Beto t-shirt.
And Tan's like, yes, we're just gonna do a little French talk out of the front, and then and it's just going to slim you down a little bit. So it's going to distract from those areas that you just don't want people focusing on.
Then Ted Cruz is like, but what if the areas I don't think people should be focusing on is all of me?
What if the areas I don't want people focusing on are on the inside?
Then Karamo's section is just like, it's 2 minutes of Karamo sitting down like in a chair across from him, just staring him dead in the eyes. And after like 2 minutes, he's like, stop being racist.
He's like, have you ever seen a black man?
Well, actually, yes, I did. I think I saw one. His name was Ben Carson. He was standing a couple of podiums away from me. So, like, you know, there was a distance. I can't be certain he was, but I think he might have been.
It would queer-eyeing Ben Carson would just be like teaching him how to walk in a straight line. Oh my god, dude.
Do you know that like someone you know it because you were in class with her. Our classmate Alex had her fucking head operated on by Ben Carson when she was a kid.
Yep, she told us about that. That's right. We do have a classmate that, yeah, fuck, that's wild.
That's wild. Can Justin, think about literally any doctor you've ever had. Now imagine that they are the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
I don't want to. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, me neither, but reality. We fucking are.
Yeah, right? Oh my god, dude. Okay, well, I'm trying to think of like a good fictional character that would be good on Queer Eye.
I'm racking my brain too. Hold on, speaking of rack, you talk while I look through my DVD rack.
Okay, I do have a good one. And I need you to do your Jonathan Van Ness impression while I do the impression of this character.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
How about our Lord Emperor Palpatine on Queer Eye?
I was literally just saying
Palpatine. Jason, I love you. I love you too. We're not talking about Sheev here. We're not talking about regular ass Senator Palpatine. We're talking about like roadie ass episode 6 Palpatine.
Fuck yeah.
Jonathan Van Ness gives him like a special sunscreen to use on his gross face wrinkles.
Okay, sweetie, I can clearly see right now that you've really put your skincare to the side while you've been trying to sort of take over the entire galaxy. Yeah. And like, but I really appreciate that because you've sort of been trying to like expand this sweet baby empire you have going on. But just like 5 minutes of skincare every single day is really going to show not just in your face, but also in your confidence overall.
I don't even like... the extent of my fucking impression through that was just because I just wanted to listen to your Jonathan Van Ness impression.
I love the idea of like the talking head interview with Darth Vader, like, I nominated my boss Palpatine because while he's been taking very good care of the Empire, the person he hasn't been caring for is himself.
Palpatine always takes care of those around him. He never gives himself time. I think 1 week with the Fab Five should really turn this galaxy around.
All right, Palpatine, I'd like to just go ahead and put out one idea for you really quickly. Just hear me out here. Fuchsia.
Like a fuchsia, like changing the color of my Force lightning.
Oh, yeah, no, honey, I'm talking about your robe. You're sticking with this whole black thing, and it sort of blends into the background of the space. If you're standing by one of your large bay windows, you can't hardly see anything. I can't see you.
I love Tan just fucking like on the Star Destroyer talking about how fucking Palpatine's robe blends in with space.
And you know what? With all this crazy shit, like fucking Bobby's doing some crazy shit to the throne room, like fucking Jonathan's giving him a perm, whatever. Like, and after all of this shit, Anthony is still like, so guacamole really is a great appetizer for any party.
No, Anthony is teaching him how to make like some kind of special mac and cheese that uses blue milk. It's like some kind of like fucking 4 cheese mac and cheese. It's all fucking special, but it's blue.
It's a blue mac and cheese from Antoni's.
Antoni's mac and cheese.
I love the idea of like them all coming back to their fucking Atlanta loft and like pouring themselves little things of wine and then hitting play on the TV.
Dude, I'm so badly...
Palpatine is planning on completely eradicating the star system this weekend, and we want to make sure he is ready for it.
No, I want him to have a little dinner party with a bunch of stormtroopers. And he's like, I gotta put out this prosciutto for the guests.
Before the Fab Five came in, I feel like Emperor Palpatine, Chancellor, fuck his name, I feel like Palpatine was really looking out for the galaxy. Now it's good to see he's looking out for the galaxy within himself.
I learned that there was an empire that I hadn't yet conquered, and it was my fear of public speaking. But Karamo helped me through those problems, and now I'm ready to make a speech before the entire galaxy.
Oh my god, I just fucking love the idea of like Karamo's like, alright, pretend I am Mace Windu. Go. You will die. Come on. I know you've got more in you. No, you will die. Come, Palpatine, I need you to look with it. No, you will die.
He's like, I just need you to look inside yourself, and you just gotta tell me right now, what do you see? And he's like, a chancellor. And it's like, no, you're more than that. The Emperor? No, you're more than that. Unlimited power! He's like, that's right. You have the unlimited power inside yourself to open up your heart to these other people who have trusted you with their lives since they were kidnapped by you from birth.
I have been a loyal follower of you ever since you accidentally made me kill my wife. But I also consider you more than a boss. I consider you a friend.
And then oh my god, dude. Tan's somehow trying to get him to French tuck his robe into nothing. He puts him in like a nice pair of slacks, but he's still got the robe over it, but just the front of it is French tucked.
All right, sweetie, I'm just going to try these out. These are colored contacts because your eyes right now are looking a little bit yellow and a little bit discolored.
My eyes are
and I
very
think just adding
discolored.
a little bit of blue. I think if we just add like a little bit of blue into that, we can really start to see the soul behind the eyes. I just want to see your sweet little baby soul.
And then there's just like one clip just like put halfway through the episode of Luke being a talking head, and he's just like, that guy sucks.
He's murdering millions of people.
He's literally Space Hitler. And then fucking Karamo's like, man, if you're just gonna keep seeing yourself as Space Hitler, that's all you're ever gonna be. You need to look inside yourself and find that warmth and that comfort and that openness that can really help you. That can really help you be the emperor that you always wanted to be.
I'm picturing what Bobby would do with the throne room, where he like gets these like really nice like modern couches in there. He's got these nice little like plant elements to sort of spice things up, and he's like got these really nice like modern like minimalist like paintings of the beach. He's like, to me, when I walk into the space, all I felt was that it was space. Now it feels like your space.
Oh God. He's like, okay, so I know you didn't want to go too out there with this space, but But when I first walked in here, all I saw was cold. All I saw was gray. I wanted to give it a little bit of color, so I took the walls of your throne room and I got rid of that gross, like, just white and red palette, which I know is your favorite color, but I just wanted to try something differently, and I'm so glad that when we went to IKEA, you trusted me to pick out some of the best stuff. So I got you some ferns, and I painted the walls a nice mahogany. He just goes off about just how he's like... This used to be a Star Destroyer, but now it's a Star Home.
Justin, I'm afraid we're never going to be able to do this podcast again because nothing is going to be better than this.
Dude, I could literally like just queer eye fictional dictators for the rest of this, like for the rest of this series. That could be all this is, and I would be happy for the rest of my life.
I feel like we need to create a side podcast that is just us queer eyeing different people from fiction.
I love it. But you know what, Jason? Before we wrap this up, I want to give a little bit of a an update to people who may not know, who maybe only listen to this podcast through YouTube. That
my teeth have fallen out of my hands.
Yes. The rest of the podcast is just you like bah, 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 bah. I'm like, Jason no longer has teeth. No, I wanted to say that I started an Instagram page. It's at Boycast Highlights. We post highlights every time I post them on YouTube. I post them on there. And subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And I don't know.
Go watch Queer Eye. Go recommend that Queer Eye actually Queer Eye Emperor Palpatine, because his ass gonna be in the new Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're queer-eyeing him in preparation for. Maybe it's not just a dinner party. Maybe they're getting him ready for episode 9.
His big return. Oh yeah, we can't let this bit go on forever. I love you guys. Eat your greens.